Hey everyone, welcome to our second GRadulting workshop of this semester. My name is Debbie and I am the Coordinator of Services and Programs for Graduate Student Legal Aid. I'm glad you made the time to join us today to learn about life hacks. And this is the first time we've offered this workshop, so we're all pretty excited about this. I've learned a lot over the past couple of weeks because you might know that we've asked grad students to submit their life hacks, and we've got a great response. Over 50 life hacks were submitted to us. And we will be sharing many of them today and over the coming weeks in our weekly newsletter. So if you submitted a hack, thank you so much for making this workshop possible today. For those who are new to the University of Maryland, I just want to let you know that GRadulting workshops are on Tuesdays at 12:30, and they will usually be recorded as long as we have the speaker's permission. This semester, we are offering 9 workshops. And if you missed last week's workshop, which was on the topic of health insurance, you can find the recording as well as the presentation for that on our website on the workshop page. And if you know anything about the GRadulting workshop series, you know that we try to make it interesting. So each week we highlight a new topic with a new speaker. Next Tuesday, the topic is student loan debt. Our speaker will address how to manage it, how to minimize the time and the pain of paying it back. So I hope that you can attend that workshop next week. So let's get back to the topic at hand, life hacks. So let's start with a very quick poll that I'm going to launch right now. So please take a minute to tell us, what is the most challenging aspect of being a busy grad student and having adult responsibilities? So let's see if anything. Oh, wow. I'll give you another few seconds. All right. All right, so can everyone see the results? Time management, number 1. Really no surprise there. I don't think that ever goes away, even when you're not a busy grad student. All right, and taking care of myself in the number 2 spot, followed by money management, organization, eating balanced meals is in a tie with other. So, well, thanks for doing that little poll, because all of these topics are going to be addressed today. So you're going to want to stay tuned. Okay. I am, let's see what's next. How about I introduce all the people who are going to help us today? We are joined by several talented university professionals who are all in the business of helping grad students at the University of Maryland. And they are, and just wave when I say your name, from the Graduate Student Legal Aid Office, we have Zach Mundy and Tara Johnston. From Grad Student Life, we have Jennifer Enriquez. Hi, Jennifer. And finally, from the Graduate School, we've got Dr. Linda Mccree, Simone Warwick Bell, and Amanda Strausser. These good folks are here to present the life hacks that you submitted to us, and they'll also talk a little bit about how they can help you. So if you have any questions for them today, type them in the chat, and please watch the chat for instructions about today's workshops, as well as websites and links and resources, just so you have access to all of that. So I am going to hand things over to Zach Mundy while I share my screen. Zach is the director and attorney for the Graduate Student Legal Aid Office, and he is going to talk about what he does and share his hacks. Take it away,
Debbie.
Zach.
Thanks, Debbie, and hi, everybody. As Debbie said, my name is Zach Mundy, and I'm the director of GLAO. And so the two main things I'm going to tell you about are sort of our legal-related services. And you can meet with me at any time. You can schedule an appointment for a 30-minute consultation on pretty much any legal issue you have, as long as you're not trying to sue the university or sue another student. I can usually provide advice with that. And then if you have an immigration need for our international students, we also have monthly meetings with an immigration specialist, an attorney who will come in and meet with you, and you can request and schedule those appointments through our website as well. Everything we do is confidential, so if you have any concerns about the personal nature of some of your legal issues, don't worry about it. Anything you tell me is never going to be released and made public or anything like that. And Debbie, you got to go back to the tab that you were using.
Sorry about that.
And so that's sort of our services in a nutshell. And the life hack category that I'm in charge of is the cooking and meal prep category. Now, I know a lot of you, I didn't get a lot of likes from our poll there. Not a lot of you voted for problems here, but it does fall into self-care and taking care of yourself, and also time management. A lot of people, skip meals or make meals they're not necessarily enthused about because of time management or because of money or financial characteristics that may play a role, and you're not buying the food you want. And so we had a lot of really great submissions from students who have some hacks about cooking. Personally, I went to grad school as well. I sort of went through the affordable phase of trying to cook on a budget, and I still try to cook on a budget, and I am the one who cooks in my household. I grew up in a family that neither of my parents like to cook, but I really like to eat, and so I started cooking for myself at a very young age. And so our first one is from Meg, who says that a lot of Asian households or international students may sort of have this, that because it's rice is such a big part of your diet, but cook a bunch of rice ahead of time, and you can saran wrap individual portions and freeze it, and then you can throw it in the microwave for 40 seconds whenever you're ready to eat it. It saves a lot of time. I can also tell you that it saves a lot of money, because a lot of the instant serve rices, that if you buy the microwavable packets, they could be $2 or $3 a packet, which is going to give you just a couple servings. When if you buy rice in bulk, it is very inexpensive. And so that's a great idea, whether you have a rice cooker or whether you're boiling it in a pot. It's a great way to cook ahead and save some time and microwave it at the time. Microwave it when you're ready. Our second tip is going to be about a nice picture of some good-looking smoothies. And so what this is about was from Jessica, is talking about the importance of meal prep. And so this works both into managing time and self-care, but it also can deal with saving money, because a lot of times meal prep you're buying in bulk because you're cooking all at the same time. You don't worry about things going bad or spoiling. And Jessica said that nothing makes your mood worse than being hungry. That's very true for me as well. And so if you have any hectic mornings, you can prep ahead of time. That she really likes to make smoothies, which you could always freeze overnight and then just reblend in the morning. Or overnight oats or frozen yogurt and fruit bars, muffins, homemade granola bars. It seems like she has a great variety of breakfast options there. And so a lot of these things, just plan ahead, save yourself some time in the morning so you don't skip your meals and then get to class on time, but then 2 hours later you're not feeling great and you're losing energy and having trouble focusing. Next up, we have a nice looking roasted chicken. And the next tip was from Omar, who said that it's about reusing and not letting things go to waste. And so when you're done with your chicken, make sure you save the bones, and you can make a hearty chicken broth. You just add a little salt and boil them, and it's a great pick-me-up for when Omar is feeling sick. Healthy, tasty, great base for chicken noodle soup. It's also good for mixing into rices and a lot of dishes to, instead of just boiling with water, cook it with chicken broth, and it'll give it a lot more flavor. If you are anything like I was in law school, here's a weird aside that might gross you out, but I don't like coffee, but I wanted something to stay awake, and the sugary drinks can kind of give you a headache if you drink too many of them. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if you could just have caffeinated chicken broth or caffeinated broth to help you get through the day because it tastes so good? My business did not take off, and I could not find any investors, unfortunately. But I'm on board here with Omar because I'm a big fan of broth, and it really does sort of help you. For me, I would drink it any day, but for when you're feeling sick, it does sort of give you a nice pick me up. Our fourth cooking life hack, some nice beans and rice, is to sort of spice up. And a lot of times this might be called like a one-pot meal, but to spice up some cheap, more affordable food options. And so they like to buy boxed mixes such as mac and cheese or rice and beans, and then add in some fresh ingredients. That they add in an onion or some chopped peppers, summer squash, broccoli as it's cooking, add spices and herbs to make it a little bit more tasty, and that it feels much more nutritious, because a lot of times when you're eating on a budget, you might be eating more prepared foods and packaged foods that you're not getting as many nutrients. And it's just one about ease, and also this helps make it a little less repetitive. So you could buy in bulk and buy a bunch of one thing, but then one day you add in one set of vegetables and one set of proteins, and then the next day you switch it up and go another direction, and it feels like a completely different meal, even though you are sort of using the same base ingredients and starting it at first, and adding in an extra can of beans to give you a little bit more protein if that suits your flavor profile or what you're looking for. Then it can really help add a little variety to your meals, and also it's just really easy to do that. And our last what's cooking that's coming up is about mail order delivery services. In College Park and sort of in DC and the DC metro area, it's an expensive place to live. DC is sort of one of the most expensive cities in the US and in the world, and that kind of spills over into College Park. And so a lot of restaurants, they pay high rent, they have to sort of charge higher prices, and there's not as many really cheap, affordable options to eat out on a regular basis. And so when you're trying to save a little bit of money and make sure that you're staying within your budget week to week, month to month, sometimes you can get that eating out feeling with some of the new recipe box subscription services. A lot of times the meals are budgeted in a way that it may be sort of like $10 a meal, which can be cheaper than some sit-down restaurants and even some takeout restaurants that are expensive nowadays. And they said that they really liked learning new recipes, and they felt as though they were wasting fewer ingredients, and it came right to their door, which nowadays a lot of people are trying to limit the number of times that they're out and about in the community, and to help protect that, to help protect themselves. I know that I personally am immunocompromised, and so getting groceries delivered or mail order delivery services is a good option for those. I saw a question in the chat about farmers markets. There are a number of farmers markets that are close by. I'm not sure. There used to be a campus farmers market that was open Wednesdays during the day, and I don't know if that is starting up yet or not. But Riverdale is a local town that's close to College Park that you could take a bus to, or probably a little bit of a walk from, depending on where you live. But Riverdale and Hyattsville do have farmers markets that I believe are open, and so if you there's a nice link there from Linda that you can find. And so there are good farmers markets locally that are still open, and if you follow Linda's link or just search for sort of farmers markets near me, you should be able to find them pretty easily, and they tend to be on the weekends, on Saturday or Sunday mornings. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Tara, who also works at GLAO, and she's going to tell you first about what she does at GLAO, and then also a little bit about time management.
Okay, hello everybody. As Debbie said, my name is Tara. I'm one of the graduate student advocates at Graduate Legal Aid. I'm also a graduate student, so I'm excited to be here with you all and share some cool resources with everybody. The first sort of resources that I'm going to talk about is just our advocacy service at GLAO. So my job is to provide confidential consultations for students who are charged with an academic integrity violation or code of conduct violation. So if you ever, if you or anyone you know ever gets a letter from the Office of Student Conduct saying that you've been charged with a violation, probably one of the first things that you should do is go to our website and make an appointment with me so that I can answer questions that you have and get you connected with actually some of the other people who are probably on this call who might be able to help you work through that situation and figure out what your options are and how to resolve it. And so my category is time flies, all about time management. So we got a lot of really awesome submissions for this one. And you know, I'm a graduate student too, so these things are things that have helped me. I'm in my 4th year now, so I've definitely had to figure out how to best manage my time. So this one comes from Sarah, and she, her idea is to have as temporarily important in her email, where she might have something that's coming up soon, like meetings, shipping confirmation, things like that. And then once that event or thing has passed, she can then remove it from her inbox. And I know everybody has a different way of organizing their inbox, and this might be one way. You might find a way that's different for you, but for me, I definitely had to find a system that worked for me, and I kind of do the same thing that Sarah does. I mark things as important and then move them because I just can't have everything all in my inbox all the time because it gets super overwhelming, and it helps me remember like what's the most important thing that I need to do right now. And up next, we have the early bird submission. So this is definitely, I love this little picture, it's so cute. So I definitely agree that getting up early so things can be done early, at least for me as a morning person, that I'm much more productive in the morning. So if I get up and get going early in the day and try to get as much work done as possible in the morning, and then maybe in the afternoon, I'm able to do maybe things around my house or exercise or whatever else I need to do for the day. But as far as mental exertion, I'm definitely better in the morning. I know some people are night owls, so that might be different for you, but I think it's really just about finding the time of day where you are the most focused so you can get the most done. So yes, schedule everything and protect your time. This is another one that's been super important for me. I am totally hooked on my Google Calendar, and I know some people like a written planner that they can actually write in. Some people like to have it on their computer. I think that's kind of different for everyone, but this is very important for me to protect my time. So I'll enter times in that I'm going to go walk my dog. I'll enter times in that I'm going to make my dinner. I'm going to enter times in that I'm going to have a call with my family, and when I'm actually going to be working on my dissertation, you know, because otherwise I can get trapped in working on something for too long and not take time for myself, or the other way around where I've spent too much time relaxing and then I'm not getting any work done. So I think this is a good way to find the balance right in the middle. So this submission was about the library. So librarians, using them as a resource for academic and research related questions. I think this is kind of one of those underutilized resources that some grad students don't know about. And my college or my program thankfully introduced us to our research librarian, you know, in our first semester. So I've met with her, and she's amazing in helping us to work on projects. And even if you're just doing a literature review, the research librarians are amazing. They can help you get kind of your topic narrowed down, help you find like what's out there. So you're working smarter, not harder. I think this is something that they are there to help. So it's definitely something, if you're ever struggling or you just want resources, like this is a person to definitely reach out to. Yes, I love this one. Just do it. Allison's life hack says if you can do it, if you can do something in 2 minutes or less, do it now. And this is something that I really think helps me a lot. You know, it can be overwhelming. The to-do list can be overwhelming. And I think sometimes I was actually just reading something about how, you know, completing something small gives us a small kind of like dopamine hit to our brain. So if you can complete a small task right then, you're actually going to feel better and you're going to feel happier and maybe less anxious, less overwhelmed, so that you can then go maybe tackle a bigger project, or at least start on a bigger project. So if that means I'm going to do my dishes right now and that's going to be done, or I'm going to send this email right now and then it will be done and I can move on to something else, that definitely helps me a lot. Great. So that is all of the time flies hacks that we have for today. If you have any, you know, questions about any of that, definitely put them into the chat. And up next, we're going to have Jennifer from Graduate Student Life, and she's going to talk to us about the frugal and fun category, as well as her resource.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. Depending on where you are, it might be the evening or afternoon. So hope you're having a good day in general. I am the coordinator for Graduate Student Life. I use she, her pronouns. So our office really is the office to help you all build community and connect with one another. We plan and facilitate programs and events to make sure that you all get connected and build that social support here at Maryland. So I'm actually gonna enter into the chat a couple links that you might find useful to get to know our office a bit better. And I will be presenting the fun and frugal hacks. And I found a lot of these to be really fun and useful. So this first one is talking about going around DC on a budget. So I think it's really important to make time for yourself, to take care of yourself and enjoy things outside of class. So this person shared that they try to save money by doing things in DC. And I will say there are a lot of things that you could do for free. You just have to do a little research. And things are closed during COVID, but there are still things like the zoo or going to a park, going for a hike. I know I've done this a couple times during these past couple months, and most of the time you can find something on a budget. Next. So go clubbing, not the kind of club that you'd think. So there's a whole bunch of clubs here in Maryland. There's, I think, around 800 student organizations that you could join. This person shared that don't be afraid to join clubs that may be predominantly undergraduate students, because there's still a way for you to get to explore your passions and interests and get to know different people across campus. Tomorrow and Thursday will actually, UMD is holding the first look fair. I'll include that in the chat. So you'll get to meet different organizations and ask them questions on all the different kinds of clubs that exist here. So I highly recommend that you check them out tomorrow or Thursday if you have the time. And they're also providing asynchronous content. So in case you're not able to attend tomorrow or Thursday, you could check out some other time on your own. So this was really fun. This person is talking about using your leftover green green onion and lettuce heads. So I think this is wonderful because it's also sustainable, or working towards that sustainability culture. So instead of throwing your leftover green onions and lettuce heads, you could put them in a bit of standing water. Make sure it's distilled. That helps it provide, like, there's a lot of extra stuff in the water sometimes. So if it's distilled water, it helps it grow faster and healthier. So in a week or so, you'll see new growth and can eventually harvest a second round of onion or lettuce. So that's awesome. Thank you, Savannah and Morgan, for sharing that life hack. Social media. So we know a lot about social media, I would assume nowadays. You can find a lot and find a lot of free events through the different platforms. I know a lot of bookstores and coffee shops are also hosting open mic nights and things of that nature. So just do some research and I'm sure you'll be able to find something. GSL is also sharing those kinds of free resources on all our social media sites. So you have some help there in case you don't know where to get started. And then lastly, we have another life hack regarding the libraries. They are so useful, so I think it's worth mentioning some more. That the library is here to help you. I have a couple more links for you all in the chat. So you can make reservations at the library. They're providing curbside pickup, and they also have a list of quiet study spaces. If you are on or near campus, you're able to utilize those spaces and find some quiet space if you're not able to do that in your home or apartment. But they are providing free textbooks at the libraries, and you can request an interlibrary loan if they don't have it in stock for you. So thank you, Cooper, for that life hack. So now I will turn it over to the awesome Dr. Linda Mccree. She is the, what is your official title?
I can do it for you.
Yes, take it away.
I can do it. Okay, great. Thank you, Jennifer. So I'm Linda Mccree. My official title that no one could ever remember is I'm the Director of Academic and Professional Development in the graduate school. So kind of overseeing all the things that aren't kind of explicitly from your department or your college. So the ways that the graduate school supports your academic and professional development. But more tangibly, I direct the Graduate School Writing Center, which is a resource everyone should know about. There's a quick description. The Graduate School Writing Center provides support for both writing and oral communication. So even though it says Writing Center, we also provide support for oral communication. And we say that we do that support mostly through one-on-one consultations. This semester, everything will be virtual. So everything is being run through Zoom meetings. But we offer support for your presentations or your writing from beginning to end. So when you're brainstorming, if you are not sure what to do for a certain situation, you get an assignment and you're not sure what the professor wants and you need another set of eyes. If you've got a draft and you need a new draft, if you've sent away an article and you've gotten comments for revision. So anywhere in the writing or preparation for an oral presentation. And there's the link for the Writing Center is in the chat, and we also offer a range of workshops and other things. So I'll share these hacks. The first one. All right, so this one I actually heard students talk about in a presentation I was giving yesterday. It was experienced graduate students talking to a new group of doctoral students, and they talked about their overwhelming amount of reading. And so one of the advanced graduate students said this, said, well, you know, if you really feel like you're overwhelmed, make sure that you build reading or study groups. And the way that she described them was basically you have, 4 or 5 readings for a class. Everybody in the study group kind of picks the one that they like the best, that resonates the best with them, that is closest to their interest. And they're the kind of chief reader for that one. So they take really good in-depth notes and can summarize that. Everybody else kind of skims the other articles, and then everybody gets together and shares. So the person who was the kind of main reader of one article shares, everybody else kind of fills in. And that way, The amount of reading that you get in graduate school is definitely going to feel overwhelming. I joked to this group that I was talking to yesterday. My doctorate is 20 years old, and I think there's still reading I haven't done for my graduate seminars. So it's definitely going to be overwhelming. So finding a way to do it, but at the same time, not be buried under it is really a great idea. And the next hack is thinking about, this kind of echoes something that Tara already shared actually about using your calendar. So often we make to-do lists and then feel really deflated at the end of the day when your to-do list doesn't get done. So lots of both students and then lots of experts about time management share this tip, that rather than just making yourself a to-do list, actually create time on your calendars. Like Tara was saying, shared the hack before, like if I have to make a dentist call to make a dentist appointment, I put that on my calendar. But even if it's not actual things you're going to do, or often your calendar, you want people to be able to see when your calendar is open. So you can also make an additional calendar on Google that's yours, that isn't public, but is your kind of, I label mine my work calendar. So what I mean is work I have to get done as opposed to things I have to do at work. So you can call it whatever you want. And then I only see it, but I every day or every few days kind of plot out, okay, here are all the things I have to be at or I have to go to, but what are the things I have to do? And then put those actually on my calendar, right? So this morning my calendar said things like, before this meeting, will I complete a presentation I have to prepare, or send this set of emails. So that's a way, and it also feels less overwhelming than a to-do list. In some ways, because you've actually put things on your calendar, and so you have time to do them, and you know how much time you spend doing them. And the third one, this was really about kind of learning systems, and so the visual there is for things like citation managers, which if you don't know what a citation manager is, I can explain. But in general, I think all the graduate students I talk to say that the time spent learning systems, or like citation managers, or like LaTeX, if your field uses LaTeX to create documents, but also kind of creating systems for yourself, like how you're going to store your research notes, where you're going to put all your notes for reading. I remember a student a few years ago, a history student, saying to me the best thing she ever did for herself was that from her very first semester, she decided to put all of her reading notes in Evernote and create a way to like index them, right? Gave them keywords or whatever. And then when it was time to go back and study for her comprehensive exams, it was really easy to find all those notes instead of having to reread things. So finding some kind of system. And then this is one of the ones that I think is most important. Students ask all the time about how much time should I spend, and how much time should I spend in graduate school? Graduate school becomes really overwhelming. And in some ways it is your life, because you're here and you make a community. You've come here probably from someplace else. And so graduate school kind of is your life. That's why Jennifer's office is called Grad Student Life. But at the same time, as much as possible, really treat graduate school like it's your job, because it is your job probably right now. If you have another job too, that's a different conversation. But taking time off, yes, even if you really thrive on a more flexible schedule, that's great, but don't have it be you work any 80 hours a week that you want, right? That's not necessarily flexibility. So making sure that you carve time out, if you don't feel like you can take every weekend off and you land up doing a few hours of reading or something on the weekend, okay, but really making sure that you take time off. And I think other students shared things like putting the time off on your calendar too. So putting how long it takes you to do meal prep, when you're actually going to see your friends, when you're going to sit and just chill out with Netflix. So actually putting those on the calendar too, but treating graduate school like a job instead of like it's all consuming is a great thing. And then the very last one, this one really comes from the director of our career office, Susan Martin, who couldn't be here today, but I think another thing to really think about, you're in graduate school not to be here forever, and you really want to think about right now, if this is your first semester, or right now if this is your fourth semester, or right now if this is your fourth year, think about what you're going to do next and start to do planning for that career. So think about an IDP, which is an individual development plan, and we can provide some links for what those look like. Think about researching careers. Think about polishing your network skills, keeping your resume or your CV up to date. The graduate school, and specifically the professional development office, offers a huge range of workshops around these issues. And it's something that you want to think about now rather than later. And I think especially those of you who are joining graduate school in the middle of a pandemic might especially feel like if you've come to graduate school thinking you were planning an academic career, this is a good time to think about being flexible about that. Not to say it won't happen, but to think about the flexibility around that. So I think that's my last hack. And then I have the honor of being able to introduce another colleague from the graduate school, Simone Warwick, who is the graduate school academic counselor. And she can say a little bit more about what that position means.
All right, thank you, Linda. My name is Simone Warwick. I'm the graduate academic counselor. I am new to the graduate school, but I'm not new to University of Maryland. Within my role with the graduate school, my job is to primarily support the mental health of graduate students. We want to make sure that you're able to get through graduate school and you're able to get through it in a way that, is supportive to your wellness, including your mental health. So I'm definitely here to support you in that. I also coordinate leave of absences, and I assist with consultation and referral to other entities within campus. And I'm just here to support you as best as I can and to make sure you're successful as a graduate student. So to get into the life hacks that I have, the first one, I have the take care section. So the first one is slowly loading. I wish it had sound. That would make me feel so good. So one of the life hacks that the person mentioned is, definitely having a time when you're eating food and it's not working during this time. This is a great life hack. This is also really beneficial because if you are eating while working, a lot of times you will not feel full. So sometimes if you're at your desk and you're just kind of munching away at your meal, if you're answering emails, or even if you think it's just making a task list, your brain is focusing on your task and it's not focusing on the sensation of that you're actually eating and chewing and you're nourishing your body. So while you're eating, close your laptop. Close your laptop, do something relaxing and enjoying. It could be anything from watching a movie or watching Netflix or just sitting outside with nature and enjoying, the beautiful sun and having that time and that space. But just, give yourself that time to definitely have a space where it's relaxing and peaceful while you're having a good meal, because it will help you in terms of your mental health, but also help you making sure that you're not overeating or just snacking on junk food throughout the day. So on to the next one. So in terms of mental health, if you're experiencing mental health issues, there's definitely resources that are on campus. There's the counseling center, there's behavioral health services, there's also a couple of training clinics on campus, and there's also me if you're kind of like, I don't know where to start. The main thing I want to encourage is that, it's better to be proactive than reactive. So if you've had a history of maybe anxiety or depression, you're kind of like, well, this has been my history, but I really want to seek services, but I don't know where to start. You can always reach out to me, or you can always reach out to the counseling center. The counseling center is available 24/7 if you call their main number, the 301-314-7651 number. That is available 24/7, including on holidays. But the main thing is that you want to get support for your mental health issues. Graduate students are more likely to experience anxiety and depression. It's just the nature of graduate school. There's a lot of things going on, usually in transitional times in your life, whether it's graduate school, buying a house, starting a family. Anxiety and depression sometimes just go up during those times, and that's okay. That's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to blame yourself or get down on yourself or judge yourself about. It's okay. It happens. But the main thing is that if you see the symptoms happening, if you feel like you're having more difficult days, then definitely reach out for some support, reach out for help. So we're available, we have a resource here for you. And then the next hack. So health insurance. As a graduate student, one of the things that was recently implemented is that you have to have health insurance. Some of you may have health insurance that you purchased student health plans, some may be from your home state. Some health insurance is through your GA-ship, whether it's a TA-ship or a research assistantship. The one great thing about the health insurance, if it's through the university, is that it covers mental health counseling. This is amazing because when I tell you how expensive it is without insurance, it can be terrifying for some people. With the insurance, it is fairly affordable. So if you, for example, if you have the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan through your assistantship, it is $15 a session, and there's no limit. You can go to a therapy session for as long as you want to, as long as you have this insurance. The other benefit is that right now during COVID, right now a lot of insurance companies are waiving the copay, so you can get therapy for free through your insurance company. This is amazing. Typically without insurance, therapy can cost anywhere from $200 to $300 a session. That is a lot of money in my opinion. If it's not for you, kudos, lucky, lucky. But that's a lot of money to spend, and it's really, really intense. So while you're in grad school, if finances are something to be mindful of, definitely utilize your health insurance. If you're kind of like, I don't know how to navigate health insurance, what do I say when I call them? Give me a call. I have an entire handout that will walk you through who do you call for health insurance, what do you say, what do you need to ask, and I'm definitely here to help you navigate that piece, because I know it can be confusing, it can be overwhelming, it can be like, what do I say, what do I need to ask for, things like that. I'm happy to help you. You can definitely reach out to me for that piece of everything. And the next hack. So your work area. You want to definitely, be mindful of your work area. This person, in terms of their using things as a workspace, like using your iron board and things like that, you want to be mindful of what you're utilizing for the space, so making sure that it's ergonomic. So if you don't have a desk, using certain things as a desk, like a bookshelf or an iron board or things like that, or using a stack of books, you don't have to invest a ton of money if you need a workspace. So for example, the desk that I have is fairly standard. It was, I want to say it was $20 at IKEA, and it took me 5 minutes to put it together. A lot of people are selling desks because they just don't need them. So some of them are fairly cheap. I've seen desks for like $5 online. But definitely be mindful of your workspace. To go along with this, the other hack that I would recommend is really designating your workspace as a place of zen. So if you can, put something calming in your space. So whether it's a succulent, whether it's an air purifier, making sure that it's your space and it's your space for work. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on you. You don't have to drop, a ton of money on your space, but just make sure it's somewhere that you're comfortable. You have a chair, you have a desk, and make sure it's clear of water or things that might damage your equipment, like your laptop and things like that. But just make sure it's somewhere that you feel calm while you're doing your work. And the last one, so being present. So the student who provided this life hack kind of went over their experience of being incredibly busy and always, planning stuff and going ahead and then not being able to really absorb the moment. I love what this person said when they said, live it, feel it. So this is really important that when you're in grad school, you're going to be exceptionally busy. You're going to have work, you're going to have reading, you're going to have research. You're going to try to also balance out your social life with everything that's happening in your world. This is a huge adjustment. With that being said, when you are in moments, try your best to be present. Being present means putting our cell phones down. Being present means definitely allocating that time to be with your friends, to be with your family, to be with your study group. Even if you're thinking about the next thing that you have to do, make a note to say, I know I'm going to plan this within the next hour, but right now for this hour, I want to be present. You want to really dive into how you're feeling in that moment and give yourself a chance to really experience it emotionally. Some of the time that we spend with our friends and family, we only get that time. Just like our classes, we have this time to be in class to absorb this information. You want to really be present. I know we live in a society where multitasking is applauded, and I know I'm guilty of multitasking at times, but when I decide to do one task at a time and really be present in the task, I find that I'm able to generate ideas better. I'm able to organize my thoughts in a better way, and also it lessens my stress. So really, really try your best to be present, even if it feels challenging in the moment and you feel overwhelmed. What I usually recommend to people if they feel overwhelmed is that, create a list, then write down everything you want to do. You can put it in categories that feels great. And then when you're done that list, what you have scheduled, that list, you have it organized, you're going to come back to it. But for that time, just enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the people you're with. Even if you're out with your friends and you're watching a terrible Netflix movie or series or Warrior Nun, whatever you're watching, enjoy that time, but just know that, okay, at this hour, I'm going to get back to my list and just really dive into the moment to enjoy it. So those are the life hacks that I have. If you have any questions, I'm here. One other thing that came in the chat is the Graduate Student Circle sessions. Those are the second Thursday of every month for the fall semester. It's a great way to learn about resources, ask questions, and connect with students. So if you have any questions, I'm here to help. Thank you.
All right. Wow. I'm inspired. Thank you so much to Zach and Tara and Jen and Linda and Amanda and Simone for sharing these hacks. I will tell you that I have already started using my ironing board as a standing desk for when I get tired of sitting. But these were great suggestions. I hope they were helpful to you. If anybody has a question that they think of after this workshop, of course, you can put it into the chat right now, or feel free to just reach out to Grad Legal Aid or any of our offices, and we'll help you get to the right person. So I will remind you that next week's workshop, the topic is, how do I manage my student loan debt? If you get our weekly email, or if you see Grad Students Life weekly email, you'll see how to register for that. This workshop has been recorded, and in, either this afternoon or tomorrow morning, I will send out the recording to you along with a presentation, along with a survey. So if you have any feedback you want to share with us about the survey, it takes 6 seconds. 6 seconds. So please take 6 seconds to answer a few questions. So that's all I have. I hope this is helpful to you. Thanks for coming, and have a great week. Bye, everybody.